Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here. And in today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the ultimate guide and strategy in terms of maximizing your profit and making the most money doing the import and export car sourcing and selling missions. So as I touched on in my Q&A video the other day, I said I've seen a lot of people doing things the incorrect way, which is costing them time, costing them money, not making themselves as efficient and maximizing the ability that they possibly could make in online. So today I'm going to be going everything you should do, everything you shouldn't do, and the best way in which you can go about making money doing these importing and exporting car selling missions. So we got a lot to talk about today, so let's not waste any more time and let's get it started. All right, so before we can even begin talking about the car selling missions itself, we need to talk about the things you need: an office and a vehicle warehouse. And everyone loves to kind of go for the most expensive one, and in theory that might make sense because it might offer the best location or the best features, but when it comes to the CEO office and the warehouse, it absolutely doesn't. So I recommend that if you have a super expensive or high-end CEO office like Arcadius or even something like Maze Bank, downgrade. You can save yourself some money and even make yourself a little bit of profit by turning those in. Also, you don't have to have them fit with all the accessories like a gun safe or a weapon safe or even the accommodations. You can just use an apartment next door and then walk over to your warehouse or your CEO office. So save money regarding that. And I've mentioned this in previous videos, but all the warehouses are the same. They house 40 vehicles. The only difference is their location. And the cheapest one is like 1.5 million. The most expensive one is nearly 3 million. So save yourself millions of dollars, buy the cheapest one, learn from my mistake. I bought the most expensive one because I thought it was going to have better features. And since you can't get rid of your warehouse without getting rid of all the cars, I haven't had the opportunity to switch over. So buy the cheapest warehouse. And also the renovations inside, they don't really matter all that much. So, I mean, if you want to save yourself a couple $100,000 extra, just leave the warehouse as it is. The only thing it's going to do is change some of the banners or artwork on the wall. Now, let's get into the vehicles themselves. Now, this explanation is going to work if you're doing this solo or if you're doing this with friends. So it obviously starts with sourcing a vehicle. And here's my recommendation: only do the top range cars unless you find a mid-range or a standard range car that is a part of a collection. What I'll do is I'll leave a link in the description that has every single possible vehicle listed that you could get from sourcing a car, and it'll tell you if it's part of a collection or not. If it says top end, go get it no matter what. If it says mid-range or standard range, make sure that it's a part of a collection, because the mid-range and standard range cards on their own do not sell for much, and honestly, you're going to be wasting your time for the amount of money that you're going to be getting. Now, I can hear you guys right now, well, Mr. Boss the Win, what if we get a mid-range or standard range car that isn't on the list? What do? Do we just ignore it? Well, what you can do is just go into a new session. I know that might be inconvenient, but going into a new session will eliminate the timer. It'll spawn you back in your office, and then you can just source another car, hopefully getting yourself a top-end one, and hopefully getting yourself one that's part of a collection. We'll explain why those are a little bit important as we get going. Now, as far as the car missions go, it's kind of hard to tell you how to do them as best as I can because there's a lot of different ones. There's ones that will require a cargo bob out at sea. There's ones that require like a pink slip race. There's ones that require you to stay over a certain mile per hour threshold. Otherwise, it's going to explode. So there's no way for me to tell you how to go about doing this. I've explained some basic tips in my other videos, but essentially you want to keep the car as clean as possible because the CEO is going to end up paying for the repair costs, which is obviously going to eat into your profits. So obviously our goal here would be to shoot for a 100% clean car that has no scratches, no dents, no nothing. That way we would be getting the most net profit possible. But my goal is to always shoot under $1,000 because if we were to buy crates from like a CEO system or something like that, it would cost us, anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 to $18,000. So if you keep it under that $1,000 range, I think you're going to end up pretty well there, especially given the fact that NPCs and other players are likely bound to chase you with these vehicles. So now that you've acquired your vehicles and now that you've gotten a pretty full warehouse, it's obviously going to be time to sell these cars and to start making some money. So there are kind of some confusing things about the exporting system. Number one is you kind of need to ignore the market value of selected vehicles. That is incredibly misleading. A lot of people assume that's the money they're going to be making. That's the value of the cars on the in-game site. So like if you were to buy the ETR1 and the Reaper and the T20, those values would be $5.79 million. However, the delivery commission is the one you want to look for. That's how much baseline money you're going to be making without selecting one of the 3 different types of things you can do: private buyer, showroom, or like personalization or the customization one. And that's the one that I recommend you go for all the time, which is specialist dealer, which will allow you to customize the car. It's a little bit more upfront money, but as long as you're very confident you'll be able to export all the cars, no problem. It is definitely the best system you can do because you get the most money. A little bit more risk up front, but I've noticed that it's pretty easy to deliver these cars without a whole lot of resistance. So yeah, that's the one I recommend going for, the specialist dealer, trying to get you the most money here. So now let's talk about the collections. Why are they important? Well, they're important because they give you a bonus. You can see some of them are $50,000, $35,000, $20,000. And this is the only reason I recommend collecting the cars that are in a collection if they're mid-range or standard range, because they're still not going to sell out for all that much, but that collection bonus is nice and does kind of make up for the fact that they're not top range cars. So those are the collections. They obviously have to be done all together once they're there, and you do get a nice bonus. So I recommend top range cars, collections, and that's pretty much it. Now we need to talk about the exporting time itself. So when I first saw this update coming out, I was kind of wondering, how often or what kind of delay is Rockstar going to put on our exporting car business? Well, it turns out that if you sell one car, it puts a 20-minute timer until you can sell another one. But for each additional car, you get 10 minutes added to the cooldown. So if you guys do the math, 20 minutes is one car, 30 minutes would be 2 cars, 40 minutes for 3, and 50 minutes if you sell 4 cars. That is a long cooldown period, and because of this, you're going to need things to do in between the cooldown period. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, what is the best? CEO crates? Is it doing the importing and exporting? Is it biker stuff? And I think those are really hard to compare on a level playing field because they all cater to different styles. The CEO stuff is super hands-on, where you have to buy the crates, go get them, go sell them. The biker stuff is kind of more hands-off, where you just kind of make sure that you have product and it's growing, and you can kind of just go AFK and sit in your warehouse and it starts growing and growing and growing until you have to sell it. And the importing and exporting stuff is definitely more micromanagement of them all, because not all the crates are different. Each one of them has a different value. You can sell ones for different values, whereas all the other ones, it's kind of like, you have one option and that's pretty much it. But what I can tell you can do is during that 50-minute cooldown time, you need to do some of the other things. Import and export does not affect the biker stuff. It does not affect the CEO crates. So let's say you sell 4 cars, you make about $300,000. What you then need to do is say, okay, let's do some crates. Let's go do some biker stuff. Or what you can do is just start sourcing more cars. Use the time in which you have a cooldown period in which you can't sell vehicles and either get more vehicles or make money in other ways. And now what I'm going to give you guys is some miscellaneous tips and tricks and how much money I've seen people making, which is pretty incredible. So number one, if you have a certain percentage of your warehouse which is already full of mid or standard range cars, then the sourcing computer will only give you top range cars. So if you want to get the mid and standard range cars out of the way so that you only get top range cars, that's something you can do, and that might be a great way to go about making money. Another kind of tip that I've learned is when modding the vehicles, especially if you do the specialist dealer, make sure you add a spoil on there for extra traction, and also add off-road tires for taking curbs, or if you do happen to go off-road, it might make your ride a little bit easier. It doesn't matter the customization you do. You can put whatever you want on there. So you might as well put things that actually give your car a little bit of an advantage and might make your ride that much easier. And I know this sounds obvious, but have associates that you trust. You obviously want people that are going to work well together, that won't go off the path, that won't like launch your car into the river or something like that. Just have good associates that you know and you can trust, and everything will be so much better. And now let's talk about roughly how much money you can make doing this. And hopefully by me telling you this, you can get a better idea if this is something you want to continue doing. So because you're able to sell anywhere from 4 to 8 cars per hour, again, depending on that cooldown time, essentially you can get close to $400,000 per hour with about 20 or so minutes left over that you can do on other things like sourcing cars, biker stuff, or some of the other things that make you money in the game, VIP works, etc. One of my followers and subscribers, Samuel X0304, sent me this screenshot the other day. This is his vehicle exporting page, and you can see just how much money he's made doing some of the car stuff. He said that he usually sells 2 cars at a time, both of them top range in a session with other players not present, so that he can avoid NPC gangs and resistance. And that's another thing I should mention, is that because there is a 50-minute cooldown timer, you need to be strategic with when you sell your cars. So you should sell cars as soon as you get on Grand Theft Auto Online and then as soon as you get off. That way, when you're off of the game, you're not wasting time. Your cooldown period is going to go down so that the next session you get on, you'll be good and ready to go. But anyways, that's really all the information I have for you guys in this video today. Hopefully, this gave you a better idea of some of the tips, tricks, things you need to know about making money in the import and export DLC. And like I said, hopefully this gave you a better idea on how to better maximize your time and how to be more efficient while doing this car selling stuff. Because I know when I first got into it day one, I was like, whoa, what do I do here? I'm just going to sell, buy. Like I did not know what to do. So hopefully this helps you out. We're going to be doing a live stream later on in the day that'll be showing off some of these tactics. So stick around for that. It should be pretty fun. But if you did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.